What if I told you that hidden in the snow-covered cities of Canada, a new generation of empire builders is quietly reshaping what it means to win in North America? In 2026, while most people think of maple syrup and hockey when they hear Canada, a select group of Indian families is building billion-dollar dynasties that rival anything south of the border. From a man who arrived with $8 in his pocket to becoming the Warren Buffett of Canada, to the tech genius who turned an empty refrigerator into a $3 billion empire. These aren't stories of old money or inherited wealth. These are calculated moves, strategic pivots, and generational fortunes built from absolute zero. We're counting down the 7 richest Indian families in Canada, and what you'll discover at number 1 will completely change how you think about wealth, sacrifice, and the hidden paths to building empires. Stick around, because the story at the top will leave you speechless. Number 7 is a refugee who escaped execution and turned trauma into a pharmaceutical empire. Ramesh Chotai, net worth estimated multi-$100 million. Chotai was born in Uganda in 1942 to an Indian family. He studied pharmacy in the UK and Switzerland, then returned to Uganda and became the youngest CEO of Imperial Chemical Industries Pharmaceuticals at just 28 years old. He managed 1,500 employees and built the largest fertilizer plant in Africa. Life was good. Then August 4th, 1972 happened. Dictator Idi Amin ordered all Asians out of Uganda in 90 days. Chotai was arrested, thrown in jail, and threatened with execution. He barely escaped with his life. He arrived in Canada with nothing. He started as a pharmacist at a small Oshawa pharmacy, working behind the counter, rebuilding from zero. But Chotai didn't stay small. In 1973, he and his brother founded Bromed Pharmaceuticals. The name, short for Brothers Medical. Bromed became one of Canada's largest importers of pharmaceutical raw materials from India. The company expanded across Canada and the US, employing thousands and generating hundreds of millions in revenue. In 2019, the Indian government awarded him the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award for strengthening Canada-India relations. In 2022, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau personally honored him at a dinner, calling him and other Ugandan refugees the best for their contributions to Canada. The Chotai family built their fortune through grit, resilience, and refusing to let trauma define them. From a jail cell in Uganda to a pharmaceutical empire in Canada. At number 6, we have a man who proved you don't need to invent something to become a billionaire. You just need to see value where everyone else sees risk. Ajay Virmani, net worth $300 to $400 million. Born in New Delhi in 1956, Virmani immigrated to Canada at 18 with almost nothing. His first job? Washing windows. He worked his way up at a shipping company called Cottrell Transport, going to night school to earn his MBA while grinding 80-hour weeks. By his early 30s, he'd climbed to senior vice president. Most people would have stopped there. Virmani didn't. He saw Cottrell was mismanaged and headed for bankruptcy, so he mortgaged his house, bought the failing company, and turned it around. He built it up, then sold it. He did it again with another company. Bought low, fixed it, sold high. Then in 2001, he saw his biggest opportunity. Canada 3000 Cargo was collapsing. Everyone thought he was insane to start an airline right after 9/11. The entire aviation industry was in free fall. Virmani saw something different. He saw that every courier company in Canada needed air freight but couldn't afford their own fleet. So he pitched them all on one radical idea: share the planes. Let Cargojet handle the middle mile for everyone. It worked. He rebranded the company as Cargojet in 2002. 20 years later, it's a billion-dollar operation with over 40 aircraft dominating Canadian air cargo. The company went public and became one of the top-performing stocks on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Virmani stepped into the role of executive chairman in 2024, and the Virmani family continues to hold significant equity in the company. They're also major philanthropists, donating millions to hospitals, universities, and the arts. From washing windows to building an airline empire, that's the Virmani playbook. Buy broken, build value, dominate the market. At number 5 is a man who arrived in Canada with $108 and built one of the country's most iconic hospitality empires, Steve Gupta. Net worth estimated $500 million to $1 billion. Born in Patiala, India in 1949, Gupta emigrated to Ontario in 1971 at age 22 with barely enough money for a week's rent. He He worked odd jobs, saved every dollar, and studied the hotel industry obsessively. As a kid in India, he'd watch movies where people owned hotels and dreamed it could be him one day. Most people let childhood dreams die. Gupta didn't. In the 1980s, he started buying small motels, one property at a time. He renovated them, repositioned them, and reinvested profits. Slowly, he built a portfolio. Then he did something brilliant. Instead of competing with budget motels, he partnered with global brands: Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt. He brought premium hospitality to underserved Canadian markets. Today, his company, Easton's group of hotels, operates 25 properties across Ontario and Quebec under the world's most recognized brands. His portfolio includes the Canopy by Hilton Toronto Yorkville, which won Hilton's Lifestyle Hotel of the Year in its first year, and the Reverie Toronto Downtown. But Gupta didn't stop at hotels. The Gupta Group expanded into residential real estate, developing 5 million square feet of condominiums in Toronto. He's also developing a massive 31-story hotel in Toronto's Distillery District with a rooftop bar, pool, and underground speakeasy. The Gupta family, led by Steve and his wife Rashmi, are also philanthropists. During COVID, they raised $150,000 in 2 hours and sent 300 oxygen concentrators to India when the country was in crisis. From $108 to a hospitality empire spanning 2 countries. And Gupta's secret? Do things differently when nobody else is doing them. Number 4 is the man they call Canada's first Sikh billionaire, a real estate warrior who turned rundown apartments into a billion-dollar machine. Bob Dylan, net worth over $1 billion. Born in Kobe, Japan in 1965 to Punjabi parents, Dylan's family ancestry traces back to Talawal village in Punjab, India. His grandfather ran a shipping company between Hong Kong and Japan. But when civil unrest forced the family out of Liberia, they arrived in Canada broke. Dylan's mother worked night shifts at Canada Post while he put himself through school. At 19, he bought 2 rundown houses, renovated them, and flipped them for a $19,000 profit. He was a millionaire by 21. Over the next decade, he flipped properties obsessively, operating his office out of the trunk of his car, sleeping 4 hours a night. By his early 30s, he'd done over $150 million in real estate deals. Then in 1997, he founded Main Street Equity Corp with a specific strategy: buy distressed mid-market apartment buildings that nobody wanted, gut them, upgrade them with smart technology and energy-efficient systems, then rent them at higher rates. The model worked. Main Street went public on the Toronto Stock Exchange in 2000. Today, it's the only Sikh-owned company on the TSX, with assets valued at over $3 billion and nearly 19,000 rental units across Western Canada. Dylan's philosophy? Be a contrarian. Buy when everyone's selling. He expanded massively during the 2008 financial crisis when others were running scared. Beyond real estate, Dylan owns National Payments, a credit card processing company, and a 3,000-acre private island in Belize he's developing into a luxury resort. His neighbor, Leonardo DiCaprio, owns the next island over. The Dylan family is also deeply philanthropic. In 2018, Bob donated $10 million to the University of Lethbridge, which renamed its business school the Dylan School of Business. He's housed refugees from Syria, Afghanistan, and Ukraine, and victims of Alberta wildfires. In 2021, he was appointed Officer of the Order of Canada, one of the country's highest civilian honors. From his mother's night shifts to a billion-dollar empire. Dylan's secret: Punjabi warrior DNA meets relentless execution. Coming in at number 3 is a man who turned an empty refrigerator into a billion-dollar empire. Apurva Mehta, net worth $1.1 billion. Born in Jodhpur, India, Mehta moved to Hamilton, Ontario at 14. He studied electrical engineering at Waterloo, then chased the Silicon Valley dream, working at BlackBerry, Qualcomm, and Amazon. In 2010, he quit to start his own company. What happened next? He failed 20 consecutive times, 20 startups, 20 crashes. By 2012, Mehta was broke. Then one day, he opened his empty fridge and remembered those brutal Canadian winters, taking buses to grocery stores in freezing cold. He realized something insane: you could order anything online in 2012 except groceries. 3 weeks later, Instacart was born. He missed the Y Combinator application deadline, so he did something crazy. He used his own app to deliver a 6-pack of beer to their office. They called immediately. He was in. Y Combinator helped him raise $2.3 million. When COVID hit in 2020, Instacart's valuation hit $39 billion. Mehta became a billionaire at 33. He stepped down as CEO in 2021, took the company public in 2023, and walked away with $1.1 billion. 20 failures. But number 21 changed everything. Coming in at number 2 is a man often called the Warren Buffett of Canada, an investor so legendary, so calculated that when he makes a move, the entire financial world pays attention. Prem Watsa, net worth $2.1 billion. Born in Hyderabad, India in 1950, Watsa came from a middle-class family. He graduated from IIT Madras with a degree in chemical engineering, one of India's most prestigious institutions. In the early 1970s, he left India with $8 in his pocket. He moved to London, Ontario, and enrolled at the Richard Ivey School of Business to get his MBA. To pay for school, he sold furnaces and air conditioners door to door in the freezing Canadian winters. After graduating, he joined Confederation Life Insurance Company, analyzing investments and managing stock portfolios. He was good, really good. In 1985, he made his move. He co-founded Hamblin Watsa Investment Counsel with his former boss. Then in 1985, he founded Fairfax Financial Holdings based in Toronto. Fairfax became Watsa's masterpiece. His investment strategy? Pure contrarian brilliance. He bets against the crowd. When everyone's bullish, he's cautious. When everyone's panicking, he's buying. In 2008, during the global financial crisis when the entire world was collapsing, Watsa made massive bets that paid off spectacularly. His credit default swaps and contrarian positions generated billions. Today, Fairfax Financial Holdings has assets under management worth over $60 billion. Watsa owns significant stakes in dozens of companies across insurance, technology, and real estate. The Watsa family fortune is deeply intertwined with Fairfax's success. Prem and his wife Nalini live modestly despite their billions, focusing on long-term value creation rather than flashy consumption. In 2015, Watsa was named a member of the Order of Canada. In 2024, he was inducted into the Canadian Business Hall of Fame, from $8 to $2.1 billion, from selling furnaces to managing $60 billion in assets. Watsa's secret? Patience, discipline, and betting against the herd when everyone else is wrong. And now, the #1 richest Indian family in Canada. The story you've been waiting for. A man who arrived in Canada at 22 with nothing but a civil engineering degree and an unshakable belief that he could build an empire. Bill Malhotra, net worth $2.3 billion. Born in Delhi, India, Malhotra studied civil engineering at BITS Pilani, one of India's top engineering schools. In 1971, at just 22 years old, he moved to Ottawa after his brother, already working there, invited him to join. He started working at an engineering firm, learning everything he could about construction, city planning, and real estate. By 1977, he'd become the chief structural engineer for the entire city of Ottawa, overseeing every major building project. But Malhotra wanted more. In 1986, he did what terrified most people. He resigned from his stable government job and founded Claridge Homes. The name Claridge came from the luxury Claridge Hotel in New Delhi, where he'd spent precious moments with his father as a child. That memory became his North Star. Claridge Homes didn't just build houses, it transformed Ottawa's entire real estate landscape. Over the next 40 years, the company built over 14,000 properties, family homes, high-rise condos, retirement residences, and commercial spaces. But Malhotra's crown jewel? The Claridge Icon, a 469-foot tower that remains the tallest building in Ottawa, a monument to ambition. Today, Claridge operates over 600 active companies across Canada and the United States, spanning real estate development, property management, and construction. The company generates billions in revenue annually. Malhotra's sons, Neil and Sean, now run day-to-day operations, while Bill focuses on expansion into Florida. The family structure ensures generational wealth transfer. The sons will own 100% of Claridge upon Bill's passing. But Malhotra isn't just a developer, he's a community builder. He's part of the ownership group for the Ottawa Senators hockey team, contributing to the city that gave him everything. His brother Sean once said, "When you're a Malhotra, work is your middle name." That philosophy built a $2.3 billion empire. From a young engineer arriving in Canada to the richest Indian in the country, from working for the city to owning its skyline, Bill Malhotra proved that with vision, relentless work, and strategic patience, you can build anything.